Hey there neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT Class 3 Trailer Hitch Receiver here on our 2024 Buick Envision. If you're like our neighbor today and you're wanting to haul around your bikes on the back of your Envision, then you're going to need a trailer hitch receiver to do so. And CURT has just the product for you with their Class 3 Trailer Hitch, which is going to give you a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening so that you can haul all those different accessories, whether it is that bike rack or maybe a cargo carrier. So this trailer hitch receiver is going to come with a 2,000-pound gross towing weight capacity, which is going to be that pulling force for any trailer that you're going to be hauling around, as well as a 200-pound tongue weight capacity, which is the downward force on the trailer hitch receiver here. So that's going to be your bike racks and your cargo carriers. So you will want to make sure that your bike racks or that cargo you're hauling around isn't going to exceed that 200-pound tongue weight rating, because it is somewhat on the lower end when it comes to trailer hitches. So it kind of limits exactly what you can do, but at least having that 2-inch by 2-inch opening, you're not having to buy any other kind of adapter that's going to add more weight to your setup here. Now, when it comes to hauling things around, there are a few things you want to take into account here. First one we'll do is our clearance. So our ground clearance, measuring from the ground up to the top of the inside edge of our receiver tube, is right at 11 5/8 inches. So it's a little bit smaller than we'd like to see. Typically we want about 12 inches. That way we know we have enough clearance so that we're not going to be scraping the ground with the shank of our bike rack or cargo carrier if we hit an incline or decline. The other part here is going to be if we have a folding accessory. So a lot of the times your bike rack or your cargo carrier can fold up and limit that length overall for your whole setup here. Now, to figure that out, we're going to be looking at the hitch pin hole, and we're going to measure from the center of that out to the furthest edge of our fascia. Now, from what I'm seeing, that's right around 6 inches. So what you'll want to do is on your accessory, you'll measure from the center of the hitch pin hole to the closest part of that rack or carrier when it's folded up, to see if you're going to have any contact issues with the back of your fascia here. Now, if you are planning on towing a trailer, you're also going to need some safety chain hooks. Now, with this specific style safety chain loop here, the S-hook style has no issues at all. We're not getting any kind of bind up or anything. And the clevis hook with the latch, not so easy to get over the top just because we're hitting the fascia, but from the bottom, if you pop that in, there we go. A little bit of bind up, but for the most part, you probably would be okay to do that. But typically, you're not going to see these heavy-duty clevis style hooks unless you have a much heavier trailer. So probably not going to be the demographic for this specific vehicle. And then there's one other thing that you should definitely pick up as well, but it typically will come with whatever kind of accessory you have, and that's going to be a 5/8 hitch pin and clip. Now, I typically recommend getting a locking one because that's going to help save any of your equipment from walking off when you're not near it. As far as installation goes, this is just a simple 4-bolt setup here. You're not having to lower your exhaust. You're not having to take anything else off. You're just fish wiring right through the frame rail. And the holes are really close, and they're actually pretty big, so it makes it a whole lot easier to get through there. Honestly, this probably take you 15-20 minutes to do. It's really easy and simple here, but if you're the person that doesn't have the tools to do so, maybe you don't own a torque wrench, then you can definitely use our dealer locator, and you can enter in your zip code to find a shop near you to get it professionally installed. If you feel like doing this yourself and you have the time and the tools to do so, then please stick around and I'll walk you through the process. Starting off our install, we're going to be getting our hardware ready to go, because first step is going to be fishing this hardware up into our frame rail to mount up our hitch. And in your kit, you're going to have these carriage bolts and then the fish wires themselves. You'll just thread that right on in, and then we'll slide on one of our spacer blocks. And then if we look at the frame rail, there's going to be 3 different holes, one at the front, one at the back, and then also a hole in the center here, which is a bit larger. And that's where we're going to be running all of our hardware through. Now, one thing I like to do on my fish wire is on the very tip of it, I'll bend it down. That way, when I get to a spot where I can kind of get it into the hole it needs to go into, it'll be kind of bent into it, and I can easily kind of pull it through, and then have that hook right at the end kind of help hold it there so it doesn't pop back out. So here's what we'll do. I'll get this back one first. There we go. And you can pull about halfway, and then take that spacer block, slide it up, and we'll get that in first, and then bring in our carriage bolt. And we'll just repeat that for the back hole, and then the same thing over on our passenger side. All right, now with the second set of hands, we are going to lift our hitch into place, and we'll want to put our fish wires through the mounting holes on our mounting flange of our hitch here. And once we do that, we're going to want to angle it down so we can get that flange over our exhaust. Oh, here, give me 1 sec. Pushed around, yeah. I'm behind the bracket here, so we'll need to flip that over first. Otherwise, it's not going to line up. There we go. Once we get it in place, we can then line up our hardware and give it a little bit of a yank to get it through there, but we don't want to pull too much until we have our nut ready to go. I can pull that one down, and what I like to do is just stick my fingernail into one of the threads here to help hold that in place so it doesn't go back up into the frame rail while I get the nut put on. And then we're just going to repeat that for the other 3 bolts. Now that we have our nuts on our mounting hardware, let's just snug them down a bit, and then we'll come back with our torque wrench and torque them down. Well, that's going to do it for our look at and installation of the CURT Class 3 Trailer Hitch Receiver here on our 2024 Buick Envision. My name's Kevin, and if you still have some questions about what's going to be the right hitch for your Envision, please feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or a phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey.